All right, Aiden. All right, Aiden. That's me. It's me impersonating a British person, like the silly bitch that I am. Anyways, so today's Tuesday. The Tuesday before Christmas. We're going to deadlift today. Yeah, it feels weird. Just kind of being out of rhythm, like with what my normal schedule would be like today, because I'm not working today. I worked yesterday, but I'm not working today, so it's just odd. I don't know. It just seems a little out of, I don't want to say out of place, but just, it's not, I'm not doing the things that I normally would be doing right now. And so going to the gym just feels a little weird. Not that it's a bad thing. I just think that it's just odd. If you ever have like a routine you follow, and then you wake up one day and don't follow that routine, it's just a little weird. So I just feel a little off right now, but it's all good because I got some pre-workout flowing through my veins. It's probably not quite there yet. I just took it like probably less than 5 minutes ago. So, that'll help with the motivation, I guess. But today we're shooting for a deadlift PR. Let's see what we can do, Yesterday was, I don't want to say yesterday was yesterday wasn't a failure. It definitely was not a failure. I would not call it that. Still walked out with a PR, even if it was, like a 2-pound PR or whatever. PR is a PR, and it counts. It's 1 pound, 2 pounds, 20 pounds. It's all the same. It's all a PR, And the more advanced you get, the more you're going to be fighting for those 1 and 2, 3, 5 pound PRs. And that's where I'm at right now, I guess. I would say I'm an intermediate lifter, leaning towards advanced. So beginners anywhere between 0 and 2 years of experience in the gym. Intermediate, probably. I feel like that phase is sort of dependent on the person, if you will. You could be an intermediate for a year if you start to figure things out fairly quickly. Well, I guess in terms of like hypertrophy and like muscle building, intermediate is probably like 2 to 5 years, 2 to 6 years, something like that. That's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like I'm an intermediate, leaning towards advanced. I would say advanced is anything like 6 years plus. You're definitely an advanced lifter, and um, I think that's kind of where I am. I'm leaning towards advanced because I've been doing this for about, 2020. I've been doing this for about 5 or 6 years now, probably ish. So we're getting there. We're getting up there in our training time. So, anyways, so yesterday was not a loss. To say that yesterday was not a loss. We still got a PR technically, not the PR we wanted, but we got one. And so today again, I think is going to be sort of similar. Honestly, I think I have a feeling today is going to go roughly the same. What I'm planning on doing is in the interest of making less jumps. I'm gonna warm up the same way I kind of always do. All right, pal. I mean, I'm not like just like pull out in front of me. I'm gonna do it with the same thing I always do. Sorry, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna do the same thing that I always do. I'm gonna warm up the same way. Do 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plates, and then at 3 plates, we'll probably jump to, was that 475 or so? So then at 3 plates, we'll probably jump to 405 or 415, somewhere in there. And then we'll do that. And then from there, we're going to jump to 451 or 455, 456, 457, whatever it is. Probably somewhere in there. And then from there, I think we're just going to make a straight jump to 501. So I'll load up 227 and a half, and we'll do a pull there at 501. And if I hit that, it will be actually that would not be a PR. I have deadlifted. I don't know if I have it on video. I might have it on video. I'm pretty sure I've deadlifted 505 before on a it was on an Olympic bar. So not a pure stiff bar, but it was on an Olympic bar and I'm pretty sure I've done it. I might have it on video. It was kind of the same situation a couple years ago, where it was like, the end of the year and I was just we're in the gym and it was like, you know what, let's just fucking send it. And I loaded up 505, fully expecting for it to not budge at all, and like it came up right away, like no, pretty much no issues. It almost felt like a warm up. It seemed like it moved like a warm up. I think I do have it on video. I'm gonna go look. I'm gonna look when I get to the gym, I think. But I moved like a warm up, and I was like shocked, dude. And for whatever reason, I decided to end it there. Like I didn't push it with that. I didn't load up, 515 or 520. I just stopped there. For some reason, I thought that was the way to go there. But in hindsight, I probably would have. I probably would have just like, slapped another 10 pounds on there and just, see what happens. See what happens. But I don't think 501 would be technically a PR, which is kind of depressing to say, I guess, because that means I would walk out of here without a PR today. But depending on how 501 moves, we could probably see if we could push for, I don't know. I'm guessing like 515 to 520 is the top end of what I would attempt today. Um, don't see myself hitting anything really more than that, and that's okay. It's I'll be happy to walk out of here with a 510 or whatever I attempted last time, 512. I honestly would be happy to walk out of here with a 501. I think I could do 501. I'm pretty sure I could do 501. The way that I've lifted weights in the past weeks, like when I go in here and I do, like 490 for singles, like two singles, excuse me, and the way that 490 moves, and I think I said this before too. Whenever earlier in the block, early in the program, when I was doing, like maybe max attempts after I'd failed deadlifts. But I think I said something about how like it amazes me how I can come into the gym and for two to three consecutive weeks lift really heavy singles with almost no issue, right? Like there's one week where I come in and I load up 470 and I do two sets of one with like 30 seconds rest. And then the next week I come in and I do 490 for two sets of one with like 45 seconds of rest. And I hit both reps. I hit 490 for two sets of one on deadlift. And then so for me, and it always moves relatively well. And so then for me to come in a few weeks later, I don't know how long, it's probably like 5 weeks later, 4, 5, 6 weeks later, and load up 20 pounds more, 20 pounds more, and not be able to pull it off. It baffles me because it's not like, it's 490, it's heavy. It's 490 fucking pounds. Of course it's heavy. But it's not like I'm struggling to get it up. I'm not like, it's not a grinder. It's not an RPE 9.5. It's not even, I don't even know if I call it an RPE 9. And so it blows my mind that I'm not able to just slap, 15 or 20 extra pounds on there and make it happen. And I don't know at this point if it's a mental block. I don't know if it's truly a physical block. Like, I don't know if it's a form breakdown issue, which it very well might be. My deadlifting technique has never been the cleanest. It's always been kind of sloppy, and I've kind of refined it as I've excuse me, gone along. Got a little short breath there. I've always kind of refined it as we've gone, and gone on in training. I'll take cues and I'll watch videos back and I'll read things online about how to do this. And as I'm training, things that I read and things that I've read in the past will just kind of like click with me and I'll implement them. And so like my form has gotten a million times better, but I don't know if, I don't know. Your body makes adaptations, right? Your body will make adaptations to weight that you move, no matter how you move it. If you move it in a consistent enough manner, your body's going to make an adaptation for that. So form being, bad is not necessarily as big of a concern for me as like, it's just form being bad leading to like improper leverages on deadlift. Does that make sense? So I'm not as concerned about like having shitty form and using a lot of my lower back or whatever as a lot of other people might be. I'm concerned more about having poor form in the sense that like I'm not my starting position is bad, or I'm just not applying leverages properly, which is I think why I've grown so curious of sumo stance, because I'm wondering if that would give me better leverage. I'm wondering if maybe if I switch to sumo stance, would I get better leverage that way? I have really tight hips. I do, and I mean I stretch and I do some mobility stuff before I squat and deadlift, but I still like I have really tight hips. I don't have any fucking mobility in my hips or my ankles. Like it's bad. It's bad. Um, that's why I wear squat shoes. Or part of the reason why I wear squat shoes. I don't have the mobility in those joints to make it happen without some assistance. And so I'm wondering if that is has something to do with if it's impacting my deadlift form. I'll say, like my hips not being able to get in the correct starting position, like my hips aren't low enough, or they're just in a weird position to start, and so it's not giving me the maximum amount of like force production that I could have. And so I'm wondering if using a sumo stance deadlift where your hips don't necessarily, they're a little more open in that sense, right? Because you have a wider stance, so you're not like scrunched up in a little ball, a little ball standing over the bar. So I'm wondering if like using a sumo stance deadlift would help me more because my hips are more open and I'm able to get better leverage that way. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's part of the reason why I've grown so curious. Is like I don't know if that is what I need to do. Like, should I be giving that a shot? Should I try that? Maybe. I mean, what the fuck is the harm at this point? The only issue is deadlift already being a pretty technical movement. Sumo stance is even more so. So it would be difficult to make the adjustment initially, but maybe in the long run it would pay off, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know. I'll probably play around with some sumo stance here at the gym today. Once I'm done with my max attempts, I'll probably drop the weight down. I think I did 315 last week in a sumo stance. I might do like 365 or like 3 reds today, so 374, and just see how it feels. Like, let's see how it goes. What's the harm, dude? I'm getting ready to take essentially, 2 weeks off of the gym. So what's the fucking harm in just playing around a little bit with some heavy weight? Because I'm getting ready to, call it for a little gym vacation here. So we'll see. But so I'm going to go. I'm getting close to the gym now, and this is already like a fucking close to a 15-minute video. So I'm going to cut it off here, I think, and then I'll pick up. I'll record the max attempt. Obviously, I'll record both today. I'm not going to skip out on the first one, unlike yesterday where I did not record the 341 attempt, which I hit. But I do have a video of me failing 352 for a second time this year. But that will not be the case today. I'll record 501 and then whatever I decide on after that. So I'm gonna make this right hand turn here, and once we get past here, I'm gonna cut the video off. So all right, and just like that. So we'll see you guys in a few minutes. You'll see the video of me deadlifting, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So just see you in a second. All right, this is my last warm up here at 4:51. I wanted to make a conscious effort to not make as many jumps on deadlifting when warming up this time around. So this was what was technically my last warm up, but as you'll see, deadlifts move pretty nicely. So I ended up taking another quote unquote last warm up. So as that came right up, moved nice, and then we moved on to the next one. All right, so this was what was supposed to be my top set. This is 507 or 508. So I just made a 55-pound jump up above 500. I didn't want to split any more hairs. I didn't want to do 480 or 490. I just jumped straight to 507 or 508 to give myself the best chance to pull it up. And as you can see, it came right up, and we were pretty happy with that. I kind of surprised myself there. So then we moved on to the next. I knew I had more in the tank after 507, but I wasn't sure how much. I didn't want to overshoot. This is 523, so I wasn't sure how much left I had, but I knew there was more, so I just loaded 523, decided to split that, or to jump to that and give it a shot. And again, as you can see here, it was heavy, but it was smooth, and it came up, lockout, surprised myself again. And so we were like, hey, fuck it, let's try another one. And since I had luck at 523, I decided, hey, let's keep this gravy train rolling. Let's shoot for a huge 40-pound PR. So this is 540 I loaded up and decided I was going to give it a shot. And spoiler alert, didn't really go the way I planned, but still, I think I got 540 in me at some point in the future. I was really happy that I got this up as far as I did, especially after pulling 523. So, hey. And as is a common theme with me, I just could not leave it on a low note, like a failed 540. So I dropped it back down to, I believe this is 528. And it was just, I just was trying to fight for another PR, and I should have just, left it where it laid, because this moved even worse than the 540 did. So, yeah. But, hey, it's a win. Woo! All right, man. That's what I'm fucking talking about, dude. All that shit talking I was doing to myself before I got to the gym must have worked up. Must have worked. It must have really, like, amped me up and made me feel like a fucking piece of shit. So I had to go in there and do something. That's awesome, dude. That's a huge PR for me. Like, massive, dude. That's off of 505, my previous PR. That's an 18-pound PR on deadlift. Probably more than that, honestly. I think I got a little ambitious with 540, and obviously you see how that ended. And then what I didn't show is after 540, I dropped it down to, shit, what did I drop it down to? I think 534. So I just dropped it 2.5 kilos, or 2.5 kilos, 5 kilos. I dropped it down to 534. So I was like, let's give it a shot. Historically, that has never really worked out well for me. Anytime I miss an attempt on, like, bench, deadlift, I don't think I've ever attempted it on squat, but historically on, like, bench and deadlift, whenever I miss a heavier weight, and then I, like, drop 5 or 10 pounds to try and hit something else, it's never worked well for me. I always miss it, and I did on 534 too. I did better on 540, like 534. I don't even know if I broke the floor with it. Maybe like an inch or two, but it was definitely not anywhere near what 540 was. So, I let my ego get in the way. I didn't just take the win. I had to try 534. So I think if I had just tried if I jumped just like 529 or 534 from 523, I probably would have had that. I think it's safe for me to say, honestly, that the PR is probably closer to like 530 than 523. I definitely have more in the tank on 523. I just got a little too ambitious with my jump there. Maybe I should have given myself like another minute or two of rest. But I was already resting, like, I think I was at that point, I was at like probably 5 or 6 minutes of rest. So it was plenty of time. But I just maybe if I had given myself another minute, it would have ended differently. But who knows? Not me. I'll never know now. And that's all right. We still walked away with a pretty awesome fucking PR, dude. On bench, so PRs all around this block then, or this program, this training cycle. We got the 455. The raw numbers that I've hit this training block, or this training cycle, I should say. The numbers that I've actually hit are 455 on squat. Bench was 341.7, so 342 maybe, call it, and then deadlift 523. So that's a solid win across the board on all of these lifts. At this stage in the game, I can't ask for more than that. That made my fucking day, dude. That's the best early Christmas present that I could have given myself. It was awesome. That was awesome. I'm so happy with that. I've always, I said it earlier too, like I've always questioned why I could never, like I could go in and move 490 with fucking ease, but then, I throw on 510 and it just doesn't want to like there's nothing there, you know. I can't get it off the ground, didn't break my knees, whatever the case. So this is just proof in the pudding that, you know, next time I need to give myself like 3 weeks in between finishing the peak and attempting maxes. I just need to give my body a little bit of rest, time to recover apparently. So yeah, that's awesome, dude. So I went in there with the initial goal of I was gonna do 451 to 501, and what I ended up doing was I called a little bit of an audible, as I'm famous for doing that. I'm notorious for changing things up last minute. And so what I ended up doing was I jumped from 374 to 418, I think. And then from 418, I went to 457. And then from 457, I said, fuck it, we're walking out of here. It's PR or bust today. We're walking out of here with a fucking PR. So instead of 501, I put on 507 because, as I said earlier, I've hit 505 on an Olympic bar before. Haven't confirmed that yet, but I'm like 90% sure I have. 95% sure I have. So I was like, fuck it, we're going to make this official, and we're going to hit a new PR, 507. So I loaded 507, and then 507 just came up. And I was like, oh, fuck, dude. What now? You know, like, what do I do now? How do I play this? So I just was like, hey, fuck it. You know, I think I probably had 523 in me. The way 507 just moved, I mean, that moved like a fucking warm-up, you know? So I loaded up 523, and 523 came right up. It was like, god damn, all right, this shit's moving today. Weight is moving today. And so I was like, fuck, what do we do now? I'm just rolling with the momentum I have. I'm like, I'm feeling good, weight's going, let's do 540. Fuck it, you know? And loaded up 540, and that's where the momentum came to an end. But, you know, that's okay. That's all right. I was very happy. Like, 507 shocked me how quickly it came up. And the mistake that I made the last time when I hit 505 on the ollie bar, well, you know, like I said, I didn't add more weight. I just took the 505. I was like, oh, hell yeah, PR, bro. You know, and I didn't bump the weight up. But I didn't do that this time. I learned from my fucking mistakes. And here we are, dude. 523 fucking pounds hoisted into the air. Conventional. Just the way the Lord intended. So, and then that'll be the new training max that the new max that I use for my training blocks. I'm probably going to bump that number up to 530, just as because like I said, I hate to do it because I haven't actually hit 530, and I don't really like using that, but there was more in the tank for sure. I just think I got a little ambitious jumping from, you know, another, 17 pounds. So if I had just made the jump up, you know, 5 or 10, probably had that in the bag, but that extra, you know, 5 to 10 pounds on top ended up costing me a third attempt. So, you know, and honestly, that's like kind of the way that I would want to play it at a meet too. You know, if I was to do a meet, like that's the way you want to play it. Like I want to take essentially my last warm-up as my attempt number 1. And then I want to do like basically shoot for the PR on attempt number 2, you know? So like that's what I did here. And then attempt number 3, you either scratch it or you YOLO. And I would have just YOLO'd into 540. I would have gotten it as far as I did, and we would have taken the PR at 523, and we're still taking the PR at 523. So that's awesome, dude. 523 is a huge PR for me in training, but at a meet as well, it would be like a 50-pound meet PR, probably. I don't know what my current meet PR is, but it's like 480 or something like that. It's pretty low. 475 maybe, because it's always the second attempt that I fail on. Which is usually 501, and that's after I've hit, you know, I don't know. I think I've done 2 lifts leading up to 501. So like 574 would be my second attempt, and then 501 is my third attempt. And so I'm kind of, you know, at that point, knowing what I know now, my body's probably pretty fucking gassed, and it's no